Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Aerial Outsiders podcast show. I'm your host, Kyle, and this is where we talk about drones, NASCAR, football, and basketball. So I wanted to kind of give an update or give a review of the NASCAR race here this past yesterday. It was at St. Louis Worldwide Technologies Raceway Park, and after watching the highlights, I did not see the race, but I managed to catch the highlights because working a graveyard shift, that does that to you. So reviewing the highlights, it looked like Kyle Larson was pretty hot early on. It looked like he had the outside lane figured out on one restart on the highlights. He actually passed about 3 or 4 different rows coming up to the front from 12th place and managed to come off of 2 in I think around 5th or 6th, which is a pretty good run off 2 at Worldwide Technologies Gateway Park in St. Louis. And honestly, I mean, that was a good move. I watched it. It was on the highlights, and to be honest, that's what he had to do in order to pass cars. Moving on into the race, another Kyle Larson incident. It looked like he just cleaned out Ryan Blaney, which, in all honesty, I don't know how Kyle Larson is going to explain that to Ryan Blaney, but Ryan Blaney just got cleaned out. Larson was way back. He was probably, give or take, I'd say about 5 to 10 car lengths back, and he went into the corner really, really hot, and he had to chase the car up the hill, in which case his nose just barely clipped Ryan Blaney's left rear quarter panel, which then it just turned Ryan Blaney around. There is nothing that you can actually say that caused that other than Kyle Larson got hot into the corner. That's all I can say about that. It looked like William Byron had some good flashes during the race too. During stage 2 on some restarts, he was right up there with Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott, he was up there. He was up in the top 10, top 5. He finished 3rd, and honestly, I could say he was a quiet top 5 for the most of the day. During the highlights, it didn't look like he was. He was mentioned a couple times, but he wasn't mentioned a whole lot. Not like Kyle Larson, but it looked like he was making some good moves. That they said on the replay that he had some jives. That Chase actually said it didn't jive with his racing style. Well, today it did. Today it jived with his racing style. The race today was dominated by the Joe Gibbs teammates of Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe's already locked into the round of 12, but he did finish 2nd. Denny Hamlin locked himself into the next round. He finished 1st, and Denny also led the most laps. He also had the best lap of 32 seconds, 32.94 seconds. So Denny had a good day. He locked himself in. Chase Briscoe already locked in from the Southern 500 win last week at Darlington. But it looks, a lot of the chasers had a good day. The fourth Hendrick Motorsports driver of Alex Bowman, he did not have a good day. He finished 26th. I chose him to move on in my bracket, but honestly, Alex Bowman is in a must-win situation. So is Shane Van Gisbergen, and so is Josh Berry. Josh Berry ended up finishing last again. He got turned. From the highlights, it looked like he got turned by Chase Elliott. Contact, just no, Chase Elliott didn't do it on purpose. He just got loose. Josh Berry was trying to get under the 22 of Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott just got loose just ever so slightest, and he had to chase the car up the track going into turn 1, and he bumped into Josh Berry. And with these cars that NASCAR has, they are extremely on edge. You're on edge all the time, from what all the drivers have been saying these last few years. You're on edge all the time, and it doesn't really tell you until the last moment that, great, you're loose, you're going to spin out, or you're tight and you can't turn at all. So Josh Berry got turned around, and it looked like he might have been fine. I mean, he didn't really hit the wall all that hard, but then when he turned around, his suspension on the left front, it was totally broken. He was done for the day. He retired the day, and that was about it. And then let's see. Let's go to the playoffs here to see what the points are. So Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe each have a win. They're in. And Kyle Larson, he is plus 60. Bubba Wallace, plus 50. Ryan Blaney, plus 42. William Byron, plus 39. Tyler Reddick, plus 37. Christopher Bell, plus 32. Chase Elliott, plus 28. Joey Logano, plus 21. Ross Chastain, plus 19. And Austin Cindric, plus 11 above the cut line. So Austin Cindric is right now in the 12th place, and he's above the cut line. He's the last driver above the cut line. And right now, Austin Dillon is minus 11. Shane Van Gisbergen is minus 15. Shane Van Gisbergen, let me put it frank, unless he has an excellent race at Bristol and a lot of dominoes fall in his way, I honestly think that Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG, is done here in the playoffs. He started plus 16. All of his wins have come on road courses, and all of his stage points have been on road courses. So unless he can get to the round of 12 where there is a road course, he might not make it to the round of 12 to be in the playoffs to win there, even though he may win there anyways, whether he's in the playoffs or not. Alex Bowman, must-win situation. He's minus 35. So is Josh Berry. He's minus 45, also in a must-win situation. So with those four drivers, Austin Dillon and SVG might have the best chance to point in or leapfrog Austin Cindric or Ross Chastain, potentially, looking at the points going into Bristol. Joey Logano is way too good at Bristol. Unless Bristol has a wreck where some of these chasers up above the cut line get wrecked, because quite honestly, all of them are good at Bristol. The only way that they could get into a wreck is just getting caught up in somebody else's wreck. And the way that happens at Bristol is it's just so tight at Bristol that they just make a mistake and they get bottled up, and there's a huge wreck into the turn and straight away, and they just can't avoid it just because there isn't enough room and they can't get stopped in time. But normally, a lot of these drivers are fairly good at Bristol. I see those last four drivers potentially not being able to point in, especially Austin Dillon and SVG. They're down at the bottom. So with that being said, I see those four drivers potentially being eliminated here in the first round. Alex Bowman, I know next year is a contract year. I know he probably wanted to be able to advance further in the playoffs, but being in a Hendrick Motorsports car, it's expected you make the playoffs. But as far as going how far, I think it's expected that you at least make the round of 8. And this year, Alex Bowman just has not impressed. I mean, during the summer, he went on runs where he was finishing, top 10, top 15. But when you're in the playoffs, you have to be top 5, top 10. And right now, Alex Bowman is just barely cracking the top 20. So with that being said, I think he is eliminated. And Josh Berry, he's just had a horrible playoffs. He's been wrecked two races in a row, so must win right there. You can't. So these two wrecks have been out of his control. Well, actually, Darlington, he got way too loose, wrecked, and this race, it just wasn't his doing, but again, wasn't Chase Elliott's doing either, but what can you say? It is what it is. Josh Berry's a no must-win situation. So with that being said, I wanted to kind of give my overview of the NASCAR race. Even though I do catch the highlights, I do try to give a honest and, honest opinion of the NASCAR race, and to be able to kind of what it looks like going forward, going into the next race. And Bristol Motor Speedway, the Bass Pro Shops night race, should be a good race. Again, my Facebook page is Aerial Outsiders Podcast on Facebook. I try to share content on that as often as I can. And this episode is brought to you by Netzel Air Drone Services LLC, an Omaha-based drone company that specializes in construction monitoring, small events, real estate photography, and thermal imaging. Email Kyle at netzelair.com today. And I will see you in the next episode.